Hi, good morning. Welcome, everyone. Today's Friday, May 8th, 2020, and this is a mindful yoga class. My name is Nancy Boler. So today, I am going to be kind of doing a goal pose in a way that we'll be exploring, which is the pose of technically shoulder stand, but mostly we're going to be doing a lot of preparatory work. In fact, I shouldn't even say shoulder stand. This is really a depth of practice of bridge pose, because once you really get into and get to know bridge pose, it's just this kind of natural next step to maybe move into a shoulder stand. So, and the reason behind this too, I thought of studying the foundation of shoulder stand is because shoulder stand does a few things. When you're in the pose of shoulder stand, well, first of all, to keep in mind, you'll be on your shoulders. So your shoulders will be pressing down to the floor. And it's not what I would call like a spine stand. So you're not caving your chest in or putting pressure on your spine. In fact, your spine is really lifting up into your body. So it brings space then across the chest that we don't want to be kind of caving the chest in and collapsing chest, throat, and then compressing the neck at all. So we start to get this space and if you want to take your hands behind your neck, you could take your fingers up the back of your neck and find that area called the occiput, which is right up at that very top of your spine as it starts to go into your skull. So imagine that space of the occiput. Then it travels down and there's that space right between your shoulder blades. So that length between your shoulder blades and your occiput, we're really getting in some length there, some space there. So this might then counter a lot of our normal sitting positions. I know I hear a lot from people lately who are a little more sedentary, sitting at computers, where if we sit at a computer, we're often something like this. So this gets all crunched up in that space between the occiput. Now, if I move like in shoulder stand, you lay on the floor also. So you can use the floor as reference of really getting this length from your occiput all the way to that shoulder blade area. And then the floor is really great because it's going to press. You can feel like your shoulder blades pressing there. And then it's going to open the whole chest, throat area. We can really get into details of what's going on in your throat and your all the areas of your neck. So it brings in a lot of space there, opening up. In fact, when you're in shoulder stand, you don't want to, and this is one thing we'll be aware of, is that you don't want to be like crushing your chin down and smashing. So there's still lots of space in your throat. And then in the legs and in the hips too, that shoulder stand and bridge pose are going to get into lengthening and opening, extending through your hips. So that opposite of sitting in flexion in your hips. It's going to open up, it's going to lengthen and bring lots of space there. So this is, like I said, it's a kind of counter pose to sitting, both for your whole spine, all the way up to your head and your brain and your hips. And then ultimately, this is more about creating kind of space for your energy and your prana to move in your body, that this really, really benefits just movement. And as you bring space in, this can really affect things like your mood. So now we're getting into what really, really matters to us. And I find like during this time of being in, maybe, you're staying at home or you have a job that is just changed now. Most jobs have changed quite a bit. And how to affect our own mood and our attitude. At any moment, I've been really reflecting on this in yoga, meditation throughout the day. It's like, what is my attitude right now? Like, what's going on? This kind of invisible kind of flavor or tone quality in the moment. And that is something we can choose. Like, we can kind of consciously be aware of our mood and our attitude in the moment. And this will matter to people around you. And, if you're at home a lot with other people around you, that this can really affect our level of sanity and happiness right now. So yoga does this where it starts by like, let's just take the body into a physical shape and see what happens. I don't have to wrestle with my attitude. Like, Nancy, you should really change your attitude right now. So yoga just says, hey, let's just bring a little more space into the body and see what happens. So we're going to start just by getting a feeling of moving like your head and your neck a bit here. So you're sitting, you're right here, just comfortable. It is helpful to start to lift up through your spine, and little lift of the breastbone here, lifting up. And then you can just start by moving your head back and forth. Right away, though, you notice as you're tipping side to side that you don't want to just start to sink your chest or drop down as you're doing this. So nice long through your whole spine. You might even get into almost a little whole body side to side here. Drink in the breath through the nose. You might naturally start to breathe and just feel like, oh yeah, there's that kind of tightness in the chest. And you start to loosen this a little bit, even close your eyes. And then the head kind of rolls as you go side to side. So you drop your chin, go to the side. And if you've been in class for the last couple weeks, you might notice how this ties right in to affecting our nervous system, affecting your lymphatic system. Sigh can be really good. You just roll back and forth. Even lift your chin way up, but notice if you lift your chin, you got to lift your chest. And then chin down. Just let it drop down, but as you drop your chin, lift your chest. So we do those like just exploring what your neck feels like today. And then we keep the chin level and we just do a little twist side to side. Again, don't be surprised if you really feel or sense like, oh, a lot of tightness or stiffness. So rather, you could just be glad, let this gladden the heart. Like, oh, I'm so glad I'm taking some time to really do this. Now, as you let go of that, we're going to clear your mat, come back to wherever you're on your yoga mat, and let's just drop down to the elbows. So as you release back here, elbows down, just to move your legs a little bit. So your legs could do that bicycle action. Now, notice that you have to lift your breastbone here. You're not just sinking down. There's that little back strength that comes in. And the intentional position of your head. You're not just dropping your head back. You're kind of dealing with the weight of the head here, holding it up. Bicycle the other way, like you're pedaling backwards. Good. Now, as you let this go all the way down to the floor. Let's do a couple of our dynamic Pavana Muktasana, where you bring right knee into the chest and the left leg lengthens out. And be aware of your whole back body. I love this feeling of this floor reference of extending and opening. And naturally, this is going to be a chest opener. The floor pushes on your upper thoracic area, therefore opening it. And you can't really slouch here. Breathe through your belly. So could you sense, allow the space even in your mouth and in your throat, chest, across your chest. So your shoulders are pressing down. And then just switch legs. Bring left knee in, right leg long. Look closely within. So you're really consciously and actively letting go of tension here. And here's that inner pranic body, that energetic body that starts to allow the breath to move through the whole body. Now you're going to do this back and forth. Moving the legs, breathing. And can you keep your face really relaxed as you do this? Even close your eyes. Feel your nostrils or your breath moving through your nostrils and this sweeping of your breath, just cleansing. And part of this purifying is actually a mental purification, where you keep again and again seeing the goodness of doing this work right now. So you're going to go ahead and pause and just extend the legs out, both legs straight in. You're moving almost to a little shavasana here. But you're not going to do shavasana. And just let your head just roll back and forth a little bit. And so you're feeling just that weight of the head dropping down. Really tender movement. Kind of letting the floor do the work, that you're nice and open here. Now go ahead and bend your right knee and just bring your right foot on the floor. Right knee is pointing up. We're going to do a very organic movement. You're going to push into that right foot. Lift your right buttock away from the floor. Just lift it up. Keep pushing into your foot. Press straight down. And as much as this feels like, it feels good, breathe to your belly, and then just drop down. Let the buttock drop back down. Now you're going to do this again. Push into your foot, push straight down, lift the buttock, and then just let your head naturally roll to the right. Don't make that happen. Just allow that little movement, and then drop down. Now breath, as you do this repeatedly, kind of fluidly lift up, release down. So we really want to get into this feeling of how your whole body is affected by this. But the real action is the foot pushing down, and everything else kind of moves from there. This will open up through the whole front of the body. Good little way of exploring this really gentle counter pose to the everyday positioning of the body. Go ahead, release this, extend the right leg out, and then that left knee bends, left foot on the floor. And at first, just push straight down, lift that left buttock up away from the floor. Feel free to move your left foot. Like, where do you want to push straight down? And then releasing the buttock down. And then notice the whole body as you allow your head to move with this. You lift that left buttock. Maybe the chest lifts a little bit as you look to the left. The head just rolls. And you lower back down. So very breathy. Push into the earth. Get that foot grounding down as you move and breathe. Really good for that energy body to release any tension, that your breath is free to move through your whole body. And now as you let this go, you bend both knees, you place the feet on the floor, and just take the arms down wherever is comfortable as you move to a very small bridge pose. So now both feet push down, you lift the butt away from the floor, you draw your tailbone up, and let this just kind of vertebra by vertebra lift up, and then just roll back down. So this is really intentional warm up for bridge pose. Again, you might close your eyes as you do this and get a sense as you lift in and out of this. We are starting to wake up the whole body in the real alignment or architecture of this. That when you push your feet down as you lift up, you're really pushing the feet straight down. So the knees don't drop out to the sides. Get the feeling of the soles of the feet pushing down. And make sure throat really stays soft and open, and how your breath can flow as you do this. How does your spine feel today, or how does your back feel today? The muscular back, the muscles of the back, or your actual vertebra, if there's any little quirk, any pinching, any ouch in your spine. So we need this, then just this fluidity, exploring without any real agenda other than connecting and just warming up, kind of waking up. Back muscles, waking up. Make sure when you lift into this, the moment your butt lifts away from the floor, your shoulders actually push down, your shoulders round, and there's that lightness of the breastbone. Little smile on the face. Try not to get caught up in, that wanting to lift into a bigger or better bridge pose. You're practicing perfecting the yoga, the connection, and not so concerned about the form or what your body looks like, but more a feeling of my whole body is doing this. It's a big warm up action. Good. And then as you let go of this, you're going to just roll over to one side. As you come up, you're actually just going to move right onto all fours. So we did, the spine was moving there a little bit, but now it's going to move in more of that cat and cow pose. So knees apart a little bit, just start kind of small. Now these waves to the spine. So we're continuing to bring in this mobility, this fluidity through the whole spine. Breathe through your nose. And again, you might close your eyes and imagine the whole spine, that from the tip of the spine all the way up to the crown of the head. Please keep your shoulders back and sense the length of your neck. Start to bring that energy in your arms, wake up strength. Drinking in the breath here. So that's important. This pose really offers a lot of space in your chest and your belly. So taking advantage of that really big full breath here. Get into the exhale. Get into that, just that squeezing of your exhale, and then that drinking in of inhale. Pause in a flat back. Notice your head position. Could you imagine that length from the space between your shoulder blades all the way up to your occiput? So a really invisible area that we can't see. So we have to kind of feel or sense. Take knees close together and let's get that big leg movement where you reach your right leg way back. Keep the alignment, from your right toes, spread your toes all the way up to the crown of the head. And then bend the right knee. Now really lift the right hip, open that right leg out to the side, pull the knee kind of towards your shoulder and then down, and then reach the right leg back again. And bend the knee and just open out to the side, doing these really big circles in your right hip. Breathing, moving. But could we check in even on your attitude here? How are you relating to your body? Are you trying to do the absolute biggest movement possible? And you could practice backing off a little bit. Because when we back off just slightly, there's suddenly so much more space. And the possibility of joy and delight really comes in. When breath can really move. It's really due to this ability of your energy to have space to move. Switch legs. Right knee comes down, left leg as it goes back. Space through your throat. And just take a moment here. Really straighten that back leg. Reach forward through crown of the head. Sense the alignment in your neck, shoulders. And then as you bend that left knee, it opens up. Try not to suddenly crunch up your neck. And then the knee comes down and we just do the big circles. Leg straight, and then it opens up. So this is where, as we practice yoga, the attention is finer and finer. And you're really looking for areas that you're suddenly gripping or tensing here. So that energy body within. Lots of space. Even listen to your breath. Like you can tell the airways are really open. Good. And then as you release that left knee down, you're going to move right to your down dog. So make sure down dog now is relief for your wrists, because you were just that 90-degree in your wrists. So let down dog then be more of this openness through that channel of the wrists. In order to do that, you ground the base of your fingers, your knuckles. And then as you lift up here, really lift the hips up, maybe lift your heels. Explore the length from base of the spine to crown of the head. Gradually to your plank pose. Lightly knees touch down, back to child pose, but you're just touching this. And then you're going to come back up. You go back to your down dog. Now, I was kind of making this up the other day of in downward facing dog, we have a lengthened spine, but you could actually do downward facing cat pose. So go ahead, move to your cat arch, pull your navel up, and downward facing cow, where you actually look forward a little bit. Back bend, like arch your back. Cat pose, pull your navel up. Cow pose. One more time, cat. Cow. And then somewhere in between there is your downward facing dog. Lightly touch your knees down, back to your child pose. Breathing. Coming up, one more into your down dog. Getting into the length of the neck here. So briefly, just to explore the space in your chest, you're going to bend your elbows in your down dog. So this is something I would say, I would never tell you to do in down dog, but you are. You're going to bend your elbows, wing them out. But as you do this, feel the space in your chest, upper chest, and keep that nice space as you start to straighten your arms. So the uppermost chest area opening. Arms getting longer and longer, neck getting longer. And then come to standing. Walk forward, all the way up. As you come up, just take the feet, nice parallel position. Feel free to shift your feet a little bit. And let's just move to that swingy twist motion. So just letting the arms really swing. Just using the arms a lot in your down dog. So now they're just loose, so is lifting up. So getting that awareness. Collarbones light, lifted. So this might feel like your chest, like looking to the right, looking to the left. So there's the rotation, the twisting here is your upper body, your shoulders, looking to the side, looking to the side. Make sure feet feel really stable. And you can almost sense the weight of your hands, that they're just hanging there. Let this be just a nice kind of undulation, kind of gyration in the whole pelvic bowl and your belly. Good. And then as you pause here, just move right to your Tadasana, your mountain pose. You're standing upright. So I'm going to bring in this kind of imagining that rather than just reaching down through your fingers in your Tadasana, you're going to bend your elbows and your palms are up. And so I'm going to use the image of, imagine you're holding two plates or like two pies. You kind of have that weight of, like strawberry rhubarb pies that you're holding. And you're actually reaching down through your elbows, and see how this affects your upper back, your shoulder blades. You're wide across the chest, and then you have that length from the center of your shoulder blades all the way up to your occiput. So you're not at all jutting your chin forward. Okay? Ground your heels. Hold your pies. Good. And then you just start to reach your arms out to the side. Still hold your pies. So imagine the pies go away because we're going to rotate our arms. So the arms are going to go internal rotation, external rotation, internal, external. And again, don't try to do this to the extreme. So you're just letting this move your upper arm bone, internal, external, internal, external. You could even imagine or really sense in that your shoulder joints, the whole network of muscles doing this. Keep a lot of space through your throat. And make sure as you're doing this, that as you're rotating, that you're not suddenly caving your heart in. Especially that internal rotation, you're able to still keep this lift, okay? Good, and then pause, bring the arms down. And so arms are down, just a little bit of palms forward. Let's actually take pies position. Hold your pies, balance on your right leg. Take your time, establish. Imagine that your right foot is embedded in the earth, or it's like packed into the earth or almost cemented down. And then that's all stabilized, grounded, kind of braced. Even your ankle is being held and braced. And then you could just lift up from there. You may keep holding your pies, but make sure that doesn't push your ribs forward. So you have your navel in, you have that little bit of drawing lower ribs in, back of the neck long. Now keep this space in your chest, keep this space around your heart as you switch. Just move weight onto left leg. Notice like as I'm doing that, I'm not pushing out to the side. I'm really bringing that left leg in. So that there's that architecture, like straight up, grounding, feeling your foot, your ankle nice and grounded as you're bringing that right foot up, wherever you want to bring it. So the holding of the pies can really help bring awareness to your shoulder blades pressing on the back and the lightness around your collarbones. Keep lifting up that base of the skull, that occiput area, right up. And as it lifts up, your chin stays level. So it doesn't lift up and you're suddenly like pushing your chin down. Good. Foot comes down. Arms reach out to the sides. Now, and Matt, we're going to do this invisible strap movement. I've sometimes taught this where you're actually holding a strap. So you could, well, why not? I have a strap here. But you're just going to use invisible strap. So imagine you're holding a strap like this. So that means that your palms are facing back. So now I'll use my invisible strap, which is nice because now you don't have to hold. You can reach your fingers out. But your arms are going to come up. Imagine you're holding that strap and you're kind of pulling it. So it's taut. And it goes up, 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 and over and all the way back behind you. And then you come up, all the way back forward. So here, my palms face back. And then, of course, when you bring your arms up, palms face forward as you go back. Okay? It's almost like palms face back here. And then they go up and over. And just do this again, like with the awareness of the chest. That your throat, you keep a lot of space as you're doing this. It's good to keep your arms straight. You know, notice if you're trying to do this and like, the elbows go a little soft. So work to keep your arms straight and the spine lengthened. And then just letting that go. Take the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers, moving to Yoga Mudra. So in Yoga Mudra, we really get the shoulder blades pulling together. Now you could bend your elbows here, but if you bend your elbows, make sure you're really wide across the chest. And then maybe gradually straighten the arms. Yoga Mudra is a forward bend. So lift your chest, maybe soft bend of the knees, hinge at the hips, just fold forward. Draw the shoulder blades together, together, together as you go over. So in other words, you're not just dropping your shoulders towards your ears. You pull the shoulder blades together. Big wave of breath, kind of wave of movement through your spine. The head drops down. Straightening the legs. And then just release the fingers and really bend your knees. Move to Utkatasana. Here we are, suddenly in a squat pose. But really, chest reaching forward. Navel in. Come all the way up. Reach, ground your heels. Align the throat. Back of the neck. Take the arms down. So come towards the front of the mat. We're going to move through a couple sun salutations here. So take palms together. With your palms together, this again is like the hands are together. Reach your elbows out. Lift your chest. Keep the feet grounded as you sweep your arms up. Even lift up the whole front of your body. And then reach the arms way out to the side. Tall as you can get as you now hold your pies for a moment. So there's that shoulder blade awareness. Lift of the breastbone. And then forward bend. And back to your down dog. Close your eyes and feel the space in the body here. Legs are active, straightening. Arms are straightening. Spine lengthening. Slowly to your plank. Can you sense that alignment all the way up to your brain? Lightly the knees touch and you lower onto your belly. So extend the legs back one at a time. So now we keep the front of the hips really open. We lift to Cobra Pose. So Cobra Pose is also a foundational pose for bridge pose even. Back muscles. Working. What I love about Cobra is you can lift into the smallest pose you want to. Another great variation here is take your hands out to the side, come up to fingertips, and actually move your shoulder blades. Let them slide around here. They can slide forward, they slide back a little bit. And then gradually shoulder blades back. You reach the chest forward into just right, your Cobra Pose. If you want to then kind of fold the arms alongside the body, feel that folding in, almost like the arms disappear. Breathe into the upper chest. This is a good one for imagining that length for your whole spine, all the way where the spine enters the brain. There's no compression, and it's all due to your effort. And releasing, go back to down dog. Lifting up. Down dog. Reach your right leg way back to your three-legged dog. Of course, optional. Breathing, feeling this space in the body. And then really pull that right knee into your chest and lift your back heel up. Just holding this, a squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Right leg reaching back. Take a big inhale. Now we're going to step forward. Big step. Right foot. Keep that back heel up. Maybe a slightly shorter stance as you come up. You bring your hands up to your right thigh. Straighten the back leg. So now here's that space in your chest. Hold your pies. Lift the navel. Strong back leg. And even sense the right foot really open. Feel that connection to the earth. So important to get a sense of being grounded. You might kind of fan your pies out to the side a little bit. And sense the space across your upper chest. Straighten the arms, take the hands behind you, interlace your fingers. Wide across the chest, like even wider, wider. But all the way up to your brain. And then as you hold your pies again, move to your tree pose. Step forward. Do this with your whole body, very strong, right into your tree. Sense your back body lengthening. Left foot down, palms together in front of the heart. Sweep the arms up. Arms go way out to the side. Tall. So this deep benefit here, all of the space in the body right here. Like this might seem or look like a really simple posture, but it's much more about the space here. Hold your pies. Notice how you might even like draw your navel in a little bit so that you're not just pushing forward at all. The freedom in your neck here. Length of your neck. And take your forward bend. Move back to your down dog. Breathe. Feel. Listen to your breath. In any given moment, there's so much more happening than just your thinking. But usually we're bringing, like 99% of our awareness to what we're thinking. We're practicing here. Like, oh, there's feeling. There is even that underlying attitude. Plank. In your own way, lower down to your belly. Now, extend your legs back. And then as you lift to your Cobra, we're going to move to our Spinks Pose. So find a place where your forearms are down, your elbows are down in a way that you can lift up and reach your chest forward. So you're reaching up through the crown of your head. chest reaching forward. This is a great one for a back bend. And it can be a little challenging to now get that space across your collarbones. We'll do one little compare and contrast here. Lower down. So it's really different when your arms are behind you. Interlace your fingers behind you. Draw your shoulder blades together and lift up. Head. Sense now, like, oh, that nice deep space across your pectoral area. And then keeping that really open as you go to your Sphinx. So it's a little bit harder because your arms are simply forward. They're not behind you anymore. So aware of that space, not caving the heart in. Slide the hands back, lower down to the point where you're just hovering in your Cobra Pose, and lengthen and lift both legs. Even start to bend your knees here. So this is a little more of the shape of your bridge pose. Bent knees. But you can still reach your chest forward. As you let go, move back to your down dog. Gradually, slowly open to your down dog. Breathe and feel. And then that left leg lifts up, reaching up. Strong and stable as you bend the left knee, pull it in towards your chest. And you just kind of hover here. Feel that squeezing that knee into the chest. And then you inhale, the leg goes back, and we'll do the big step forward. So left foot as it steps up. The back heel stays up, and you start to lift away from the floor here into your Crescent Pose. Back leg strong, straightening. The lift of the navel, that pelvic floor. Grounding down, you're pushing straight down here as the arms come out. So the arms really start at your breastbone. You go way across, so it opens the chest, and then out through the arms. Holding your pies. Notice if you need to lift your navel a little bit. All the way up through the crown of your head. Fan your pies out to the side a little bit. Really straightening that inner right leg. Interlace the fingers behind you. Wide. Good. As you go back to your pies, you can go into your tree pose. Whole body. But starting with that bottom foot, the ankle. Breathe, feel the whole body firming into this. Good. Both feet come down, right foot down, arms down. Let's just take a few big sun breaths here. Arms come up. Lift the chest all the way over. Inhale, coming up. Exhale all the way over. Breathing. Good. Next time that you come up, you're going to stay up. Bring the arms down. Let's do one last standing pose, which is just going to be one big, actually, we're going to do two. So you're going to step the feet wide apart. So find turn on your mat so you can step the feet wide. So speaking of just big inner space in the body as we go to warrior two. So right foot opens to right, left toes might turn a little bit to point in. As you really straighten the left leg, start to bend the right knee. Even take your hand to that, or right hand, I'm sorry, let me do this to the right. So I'm kind of showing your right side. Take your right hand to the outer thigh, kind of pushing into that hand. So that really keeps that openness, that rotation in the right leg. Left leg straightening. Now lift up, imagine that pelvic floor lifting up here. And as it does that, it actually takes your tailbone down. So we're thinking of space in the body. So if I don't do this, I might kind of sink down into my hips. Like, oh, a little more space. And then that goes all the way up so you reach your arms out. Lift your toes slightly so you can feel that energy, aliveness in feet and ankles. Breathe and feel the firming of this and the neck. Looking slowly to the other side, look to your left. So you can sense the space through your neck and your chest. Look back to the right. Stay tall as you can get as your arms come down. And then start to straighten the right leg, but hinge over to the right and move to this shape of a triangle pose. So you really lengthen the spine out to the right. That right leg starts to straighten. It's like you barely need the arm support. You're just straightening both legs. The arms is like, reach out a little bit here. Lift the chest, but navel in so you're not arching into a back bend. Just exploring the space of this, and then look down for a moment. So you can see and even ground your feet. Good, little bend of right knee coming up. Yeah, and then pivot your feet. Open left foot, your left foot to the left, right foot pointing in. And as you start to bend the left knee, really get a feeling of that inner left thigh lifting up and that kind of pressing into your hand. Feet pushing those straight down. And explore, that distance between your feet. Right knee, make sure it's straightening that right leg. So breathe, feel stable, and that lift of the pelvic floor. Like there's more space in your hips. Extend the arms. Breathing. So the yoga is this inner space. It's not looking like a certain way. Looking to the right. Breathing and feeling, looking to the left. Imagine your whole spine, the length in your spine here. Now go ahead and start to straighten left leg a little bit. Arms come down, but heart stays light as you extend out to the left. So we want to stay really grounded here as you explore triangle, this unsupported, in a way, unsupported triangle where your arms, You just get that little light touch of left hand, but fierce strength in the legs here. Waking up that deep strength. Lengthening and that lift of the chest to just reach the arms like out to the side. Stay grounded. Whole body breathing. Your whole body can breathe. There's space. What is your chin doing? And then a little bend of left knee brings you up. Good. The feet rotate so they are parallel. Lift the chest. And forward bend here. Strong legs. Briefly lift up, come all the way up. And if it feels okay, take the hands behind you. So here's shoulder blades draw together. Staying here with the shoulder blades. So this really keeps the upper back in a back bend. Arms straighten, lift up as you go forward. Dropping the head down in this pose. You don't need to strive to try to get the head to the floor. There's probably not much there other than pet hair. Coming up, push into the feet, come all the way up. Wide across the chest. Hold your pies. Step the feet together. Tall as you can get. Strong legs. Spine. Good. Now, as you let go of this, we're going to move down onto the floor. Go ahead and recline on your back. So in our shoulder stand, what we're really sensing and feeling then is your neck. Okay, so we did a lot of warm up. We start with that nice deep bridge pose. So bend your knees, feet touching the floor. And let's take that holding your pies position. But really press your shoulders down. In fact, you might slightly tuck your shoulders under so you can feel your shoulder blades pressing on the floor. And as your shoulder blades press, your spine actually lifts. So between your shoulder blades is able to lift up. Ground your feet, push your feet down, and start to lift your butt away from the floor. But keep that lift of your breastbone. Draw your tailbone in, lifting up, and ground your feet. Now, there should be a lot of space in your throat, a sense of relaxed neck. You're not doing anything. Lift the breastbone. So even a feeling that your legs are parallel, lift the whole spine up and then release down. Even releasing down, you do, well, practicing yoga, that you're really sensing the spine as you place it down. So we're going to do lots of little variations here. So you get to choose moment to moment as you listen to your body. Lift back up. And this time as you lift up, Roll your shoulders under even more. Get a sense of your whole spine. Now, yes, your glutes are working. Your hamstrings are working. But you don't want to use your glutes so much that it starts to push your knees apart. Okay? Lift the middle of your back, the middle spine. Lift your breastbone. But make sure, throat, you have that ability to breathe. You're not squishing your chin down too much, even though you're lifting your breastbone towards your chin. Now take the hands down and interlace your fingers. Maybe roll the shoulders under even more. Maybe lift into this deeper pose. Get a sense like the spine keeps lifting up. And notice how you're in a shoulder stand here. You have weight on your shoulders. The spine is actually lifting up. And then release this completely. You might undo your shoulders, just roll down and pause. Breathe. I'm going to show one other variation. So you could, if you really felt like, oh, that pose was something you don't practice too often, then you might want to stay with a repetition because repetition is so, so important. Now, the other thing you could do, I have a couch next to me and I also have a chair. I could use either one of these if I wanted to explore that next stage of a shoulder stand. Now, I would suggest that, like I said, we're not really doing a shoulder stand today because for a shoulder stand, I would instruct that you use blankets. So for some height under your shoulders. I don't know if you have blankets. If you do practice shoulder stand, go ahead and take a shoulder stand because you're all warmed up. Or here, if I'm laying down and I get a nice sun in my face here. Now this chair is pretty darn high. So when I lift up and I have my feet on the chair, I have to be very careful. I have to really sense my neck here. Good thing I'm warmed up. So shoulders are rolling under. But this is now going to be requiring a lot deeper flexion in my neck. Drawing my tailbone in. So I'm only lifting kind of part way up here. Because otherwise I'm going to start to really crush my neck. So as I lift my breastbone and then gradually lower down. So that chair height, I know for me, it's kind of maxing out. And it's a little bit different. Like I'm just going to casually use my couch here. My couch is a little bit lower. I can take my feet on the couch. Again, feel free to use any objects you want to like just get a little higher lift. Even if you have 2 blocks under your feet, that would be even a much higher lift. So with this couch, the lower height than the chair, a little better for my neck. I could do this as a really nice warm up. Breathing, lifting, and sensing the space. That length and lowering down. So in your own way, you've done exploring just some repetition of your bridge pose. If you're really interested in practicing the full Sarvangasana shoulder stand, I'll be teaching it tomorrow in my Zoom class, or I taught it on Tuesday night. You could go back and watch that on my Tuesday night class on this Common Ground channel. So go ahead and move any props aside. clear your mat. And we're going to do just a little bit of kind of a cool down here before we move into Shavasana. So recline on your back. Bend your knees, arms way out to the side. And then just start to drop your knees back and forth. Taking your feet nice and wide apart. So it's a real gradual dropping, kind of flopping the knees slowly back and forth. Let the breath just be really fluid. And as you drop your knees, your head might kind of roll to one side or roll to the other side. And allow even that little teeny head movement back and forth. So even feeling the weight of the head, that gentle rolling back and forth. Make sure you're allowing space in the mouth and the throat. Breathe into the whole body here. And then moving right to your Shavasana. When we're practicing Shavasana, you will know if you are practicing Shavasana. There's a difference between just laying on the floor, kind of zoning out, or practicing Shavasana. Practicing non-distraction. You're getting closer and closer to the present experience. Mindfulness centered on the body. Feel your body and position your body accordingly. If the lower back is feeling really sensitive, even a little bit of pain, you would practice this with your knees bent. Making sure arms, shoulders are just right so there's space through your throat and your chest. Give yourself this time. Mindfulness centered on the mind. What are you thinking about? What are you bringing your awareness to? Maybe be aware of your breath and feel now the breath. Mindfulness centered on your feeling tone or your attitude. Are you giving yourself fully or just partially to experiencing this moment? So, as you stay connected, maybe watching the waves of breath, at every exhale, you silently let go. And this is where we can learn a lot. You can let go physically. You might drop the weight of your head or soften your eyes. Deeply explore every exhale, letting go. Maybe just letting go of stories or thoughts. Is there still a little grip of anger in your body somewhere? Letting go. Is there worry that's gripping you? Worry is in the future, so you're practicing. I'm right here. So many ways we practice this self compassion, freeing ourselves of tension in a way that only we can do. Keep remembering, oh, I'm practicing letting go. The mind is bright. So it's like you're just returning to your natural state. soft lips, throat, heart free. You welcome in even the sound of the bell and sensing now the energy in the body. Breathing, taking a breath or two as you re-enter the day. You bring yourself back up to seated. I'm going to bring palms together in front of the heart. Might pause and reflect. Just notice what your practice offered you today. You know, both there might be this a little bit of freedom, decrease of stress or tension, but also a real understanding that there's work. There's work in this practice. There's work to being happy and free. So may we continue to do this work. And may all beings benefit from our efforts. May it be so. I'm going to close with the sound of Om. You can join in or silently feel this vibration of Om. Deep inhale. Thanks so much, everyone, for taking time to practice together, getting yourself here to your mat. May you have a wonderful day of lightheartedness and sharing the fruits of your practice. Feel free to leave a little salutation in our chat area if you wish. Like I mentioned, there will be a Zoom class that I'm offering tomorrow morning. And that's from 9 to 11. I've started to call it my little mini retreat on Saturday. It's a 2-hour class. So you'll just have to contact me if you're interested in Zooming. So by contacting me, there's so many ways. You can find me on my website at boleryoga.com. I'll type that in here on our little chat. Or you can go to the Common Ground website. You can email Common Ground, info@Common Ground. They'll get it to me. Or I just so appreciate people continuing to show up for these classes. It really gives me inspiration. And right now it is about us doing this beautiful, freely giving, freely receiving other people's support and care. And we do have to reach out in different ways than maybe we're used to. This is really good spiritual work.